Boyfriend stopped doing chores and broke every promise he made. Then when I moved to a separate room, he went through my old phone and found a picture of my rapist from before we even dated and accused me of cheating. Me, 21F, and my BF, 21M, have been together for almost 3 years and living together for almost 2. I'm at university and work as a manager, and he has a full-time job at around 30 to 40 hours a week. At the start, it was your stereotypical happy and progressive relationship. He'd get me flowers, make me coffee in the mornings. I'd cook his favorite meals if he had a bad day, and we would go on dates. Our friends used us as a template for the perfect relationship since we knew how to communicate, and anything that almost became a fight was resolved within the day. We were both on the exact same wavelength with everything. In the past year, it's become really difficult to have good communication. I've kept doing what we've always done and brought up anything bothering me and how we can resolve it, but he started making empty promises. For example, my university semester started and I got a promotion at work. So, I asked him if we could shuffle the house chores a bit since I was doing way more hours. He said, yeah, of course. And did the normal hug and kiss, but nothing changed. If I bring it up again, he just brushes it off as, yeah, I'll do it later. But he doesn't. I thought he might have been struggling with something that he didn't want to tell me about. So, I gave him more leeway and just asked for a little bit of help here and there. So, I would make dinner and just ask that he unloads the dishwasher afterwards. But, he would do the same thing. Agree, but pretend I hadn't asked. The final straw for me was a couple days ago. We were getting a bunch of furniture moved to our house, and my parents were helping us at 10 a.m. I told my BF this, and he said that's completely fine, but he's already agreed to go clubbing with our friends. I said that's fine as long as he helps me clear out the living room for the new furniture before he leaves. He says that his friends want to have a house party until 6 o'clock, and I say we can't be out that late, but we can stay out until 3 o'clock. He says that's fine. I hadn't been on a night out in ages, so they invited me along. I had just got a new dress and I was really excited to go out. I got my dress and makeup ready and told my BF that we had to start moving furniture now if it was going to be ready in the morning. He said, sure, give him a minute to finish a fight in his video game. I started moving things and NGL really struggled with the heavy stuff, so I reminded him to help me move things. He tells me to wait. 2 hours go by with me struggling to lift couches and he jumps into the room dressed up and ready to leave. He quickly tells me that he's ordered a taxi and is leaving soon. I ask what about moving the furniture. He just shrugs. I say that I can't go on a night out without moving this stuff first. He just brushes it off. I remind him to at least be back by 4 a.m. so that he won't be super hungover while helping in the morning. Long story short, I had to stay home and move the furniture so we would have room in the morning. He still went out without me. I was done by about 1 a.m. and woke up at about 7 o'clock and he still wasn't home. He answered and told me he was at the house party, but he'll be home soon. He got home exactly 10 minutes before my parents arrived. In short, he promised he would be home by 3 o'clock, but came home at 10 a.m. made me stay home alone to sort the furniture. And when the furniture was finally in the house, he refused to help me move any of it again. This happens constantly. If he promises to make dinner, I end up making myself a sandwich at midnight because he didn't do it. If he promises to wash our clothes, he only washes clothes that he is going to wear the next day. He promises to buy me flowers again, but it's been almost a year since he has. I brought this up to him yesterday night saying that I didn't feel loved and felt used since I do everything. He again had the conversation saying he knows he's made mistakes and he'll do anything to help me feel loved. I asked one thing, help me in the morning with chores. He promised. Guess what happened? I, of course, ended up doing all of them myself. I'm getting so fed up of mothering him and forgiving him continuously, and this is the first time in 3 years I've actually thought about leaving. I know that I won't because I really do love him and his family, but nothing I do can get through to him. Update. A lot has happened since this post. I took the words and advice of the comments and gave him an ultimatum. He needs to fix the problems in the original post or I'd leave. I sat him down and explained that he's treating me like his mother, not his partner. So, I'd set up a bed in my office and sleep in a different room until he proved he didn't need me to take care of him at a whim. He was super shocked that I'd hit him with this out of nowhere, ignoring that I've been asking for help for months. I had to drag one of the spare beds up the stairs and set up the room, all while he was sitting refusing to help me. Fine. Nothing I'm not used to. I realized once the office was set up how happy it made me to have my own space without needing to fix all of his problems. And he did not take that happiness well. I noticed him getting snarky and aggressive whenever he saw how much I was enjoying my holiday from catering to him and just overall being weird but still not really doing his own stuff. He'd just leave mugs and plates to get moldy in his room or leave stuff everywhere in the living room. I noticed that he started to nitpick everything I did. And it seemed like he was trying to find something, anything to make me feel bad about to make his faults less bad, I guess. He complained about my friend group on Discord because he didn't like that I had friends that weren't through him, even though I invited him to come on with us, introduced him, and he had a good time. He also complained that I wasn't giving him enough attention or helping enough. Yeah, welcome to my hellhole, pal. But everything he tried to fault me for was quickly shot down. Of course, I'm friends with them. They haven't done anything wrong and I've invited you to join all the time and of course I'm not helping you. That's the point. Hit the fan after only 2 days of me staying in the office. My Discord group had decided to get drunk and play cards against humanity. I highly recommend this, by the way, and I told my partner this. He just said okay. And so I went upstairs. Once I was already pretty tipsy, I got a message asking me to come downstairs. I told my Discord to pause the game and give me 5 minutes. When I went downstairs, he looked at me with the scariest face and said, "Do you want to tell me anything?" Ha! Holding my old phone. In our entire relationship, I have never done anything to be disloyal or anything, so I had no clue what he meant. I asked, still giggling from the drink, "Tell you what?" I don't remember exactly what he said, but he said that he knew and I should admit it to him now because he had evidence. I still had no clue. So, I told him this, still stumbling a bit, and asked to see the evidence. He proceeds to go through my old phone's photos until he reaches over 4 years ago, well before we were dating by the way, and shows me a picture of my rapist. Not a naughty picture or anything, literally a selfie. He showed me this smugly and proceeded to tell me that I cheated on him with the guy who raped me before we were even together. Ladies and gentlemen, they say it's impossible to fall out of love instantly, but that's been proven false. I gave him one last chance to take it back and asked, "Are you jealous of him?" And he confirmed that yes, he wished he had done it first. In his defense, I genuinely think he worded this badly and didn't mean he wished he had sad me, but holy hell, my drunk brain did not like that one. I don't even remember what I properly said, but I broke up with him on the spot. I explained I'm staying in the office until I find a flat and he is not to talk to me at all. He realized that I'm trying to guilt me backfired and he started crying. I just went upstairs, put my headset on and said, "Guess who's single?" Long story short, my Discord collectively decided to keep me on a video call constantly BC. They had a bad feeling about me still living in the same house. And God, were they right. He left to stay with his mom, who's down the road, but decided to try to kick the door down at midnight. Why? Everyone in the Discord was flirting with me, mostly jokes, and this dude took my old phone and logged into everything to find more stuff to guilt me on. I had to phone my parents to pick me up because he had gotten in and was throwing around, accusing me of cheating again. I'm now staying with my parents until I find a flat. And I'm lucky to have my Discord friends because if they hadn't witnessed his freak out on camera, I don't think anyone would have believed me. Love you guys. Next story. Mom went into cardiac arrest during our trip and passed away in the ICU. So, the hospital helped me find a rescue dog named Julian to comfort me before I had to take her off life support. And now, 6 years later, I still have his picture on my wall. I know this is a long shot, but in the words of Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. I've literally wanted to make this post for years and couldn't bring myself to do so until now. I'll explain the story behind my question. In April 2019, my mom and I were visiting Western Pennsylvania from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada. We booked a motel in Canonsburg as it was a nice halfway point between two places we'd be spending time. The only international trip I ever got to take with my late grandmother was to Wheeling Island in West Virginia. So, my mom and I were going to go watch the Greyhound races. The primary reason for the trip was to see Cher perform at PPG Paints Arena and to check another MLB stadium off our list. My mom was a huge Toronto Blue Jays fan, and she raised me to be one as well. About 12 hours after arriving in Canonsburg, my mom went into cardiac arrest and never woke up again. After she was stabilized at Canonsburg Hospital, she was transferred to West Penn Hospital where she died in the ICU a few days later on Easter Sunday. While my mom was in the ICU, the staff asked me what I needed and I said, a dog. They didn't have emotional support animals who came to the hospital. The hospital made some calls to other local medical facilities and were unsuccessful. I went on Google and did my own research. The first animal shelter I called said they were too busy to accommodate me. I called ASAP Rescue inside Petland on Penn Avenue, which is a 10-minute drive from West Penn. I explained my situation and they told me I could come over and spend as much time as I wanted. When I got to ASAP, they asked me which dog I wanted to hang with. And I said, I'm going to have to play God when I remove my mom from life support in a couple of days. I don't want to choose which of your dogs gets my love. They brought out Julian for me, who I believe was 5 months old at the time and is half boxer, half pit bull. I spent about 4 hours with him on Good Friday 2019 and another couple of hours on Easter Monday 2019 while my mom was being cremated. I would have loved to adopt Julian, but it would have been too overwhelming with the pending loss of my mom. Not to mention, bringing a dog across the international border would have required some special paperwork. It's been 6.5 years since I got to hang with Julian during the worst week of my life. I never would have imagined that when I crossed the border into the US with my mom in the passenger seat, that a week later I'd be crossing back into Canada with the urn containing her ashes on the passenger seat with the Blue Jays headed to the postseason. Sorry Pirates fans, my grief is really strong again as I wish my mom was physically here to see it. I can hear her clapping and cheering and truthfully I've felt her spirit with me the past couple of days. When I think about what brings my comfort when I'm feeling really emotional about my mom, I think about the time I got to spend with Julian. Julian would be almost 7 years old today. I have his picture hung up in my living room. I hope he was adopted to a good home and has had a good life. I live in Calgary now, so I'm not looking to visit him or FaceTime with him. But I do have a few questions. If you adopted Julian and are reading this, I'm curious to know if you changed his name, how big he got, if he's done okay, his temperament, and if he's given you the same love that he gave to me. I also want Julian's owner to know what he did for me. I still think about him often, and I'll never forget him. Whenever I talk about my mom passing away in Pittsburgh, I always show a picture of Julian because he's such an important part of the story. Comments where OP has replied. Comment 1. Although I don't have updated information on Julie, and I can provide. My daughter and I are 2 of the employees who helped you that day. Rescues don't get to see good things printed about them often. So, we greatly appreciate this. I am so glad that Julian was able to provide some unconditional love and support during those difficult times and that we were able to facilitate that. Oop. Wow. Small world. I remember talking to you or somebody at ASAP about the traveling you do to rescue the dogs from kill shelters. It's such a huge thankless commitment and I have the utmost respect for what you and your staff do every day. If I lived in the US, I would absolutely come to Pittsburgh to adopt my next animal from ASAP. Comment 2. Just wanted to add, removing artificial support measures in the ICU is not playing God. It's allowing natural events to happen. You did the only thing you could do for your mother. Oop, thank you. What I was trying to say is that it was still a life and death decision, even if doing so was the only logical outcome. My mom didn't have a living will, but she had told me she wouldn't want to remain on life support. When she went into cardiac arrest, the paramedics were able to quickly revive her. While I knew within the first several hours that my mom coming back to Canada alive seemed unlikely, the ICU team at West Penn had some theories as to why my mom went into cardiac arrest and wanted to do some tests and try some treatment to see if they were correct. She was stable for the first couple of days and then went downhill even while on life support. Removing my mom from life support was the only option, but I still had to be the one to sign the DNR and officially tell the ICU team they could turn off the life support and let my mom pass. I'm also aware that she was already gone. Based on my professional experience and education, if I wasn't the one to tell the ICU team they could remove my mom's life support, they could have gotten a court order. Comment 3. I'm Gunther's dad. He's been an absolutely wonderful dog, the best you could ask for. He's grown to about 60 pounds and is a bit anxious and shy around new people. But once he gets to know you, he's the most loving dog there is. He's the biggest, best cuddler imaginable and is so careful and thoughtful about arranging his paws, so he's never kicks you. And his mom and I always make sure he gets his time cuddling smushed between us every night and every morning. He has 3 cat siblings and he gets along with them well. Sometimes he even gets kisses from them and gets to cuddle with them, too. If any of the cats are in his way at all, he'll sit and wait for them to move instead of barreling past them. But if he hears them fighting, he'll sprint over there to make sure they play nice. It's so great to see your post and to see the impact he's had on other people and how amazing he was even before we got him. Oop. Oh my goodness, I'm speechless. I'm bawling my eyes out. I can't believe you saw my post and I love the name Gunther. I've sent you a message. Update. I want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart for helping me to connect with Julian's aka Gunther's human. Gunther filled a hole that I didn't realize needed filling. Spending time with him both before and after my mom's death made it easier for me to cope. While the ICU team at West Penn Hospital was also taking care of me by ensuring I was eating and comfortable, Gunther took care of me in a different way. When ASAP Rescue told me Gunther was a puppy, I thought he'd be super hyper, which I wouldn't have minded. I could have used the distraction. While I saw him being hyper around other dogs, he was super calm and gentle with me. He wouldn't even play with his toys around me. He didn't take his eyes off of me when we were together. When I gave him treats, he didn't even give me puppy nibbles. When I was crying, he'd paw at me and give me a little lick. I held him like a baby and he fell asleep in my arms, which ASAP said they'd never seen him do before. They said around me he was the calmest they'd ever seen him. I remember saying to somebody at ASAP, I really needed him. And they replied, and he really needed you. They said, it was nice he was able to get some extra TLC and attention. I have a tattoo that says, coincidence is God's way of remaining anonymous, and I can't help but think Gunther and I were destined to spend time with each other during the worst week of my life. After connecting with one of Gunther's humans, I was overcome and overwhelmed with emotion, which is why I abruptly went silent. I've spent the past day trying to collect my thoughts and understand why I'm feeling this way. I cannot put into words the mark that Gunther left on me that's remained to this day. I've never regretted not becoming Gunther's human. The thing I wanted the most was for him to find a loving home and live the absolute best possible life. While I was confident ASAP would ensure that, I didn't have official confirmation until yesterday. Almost every day since April 22, 2019, I've either said or thought, I wonder what happened to him. I hope he found a loving home. Since I couldn't be the one to provide him one, I hoped the universe would make it happen instead. The reason why it took me years to take such a bold step to get confirmation about Gunther is because I struggled to work up the courage in case his life didn't turn out as I hoped it did, which would have destroyed me. However, I got to the point where I needed to find out either way, hence my post a couple of days ago. I think this is the most I've cried since losing my mom in 2019. But these aren't tears of sadness, they're tears of joy and relief. I feel like I finally got the closure I've wanted for so long. Gunther is such a special dog, and the universe gave me exactly what I asked for when it came to giving Gunther a forever loving home. These are also tears of gratitude for every single Pittsburgher. My mom suddenly collapsing, going into cardiac arrest and dying in Pittsburgh was a living nightmare that I would never wish on anybody. However, every single person I came into contact with in Pittsburgh and Canonsburg were beyond kind, compassionate, and supportive. My mom was my only living relative, and every single Pittsburgher immediately became a member of my extended family. I love the people of Pittsburgh, and after my mom died in the Steel City, I declared myself an honorary Pittsburgher for life and joked the mayor should give me a key to the city. It should go without saying that I especially love the staff at West Penn Hospital, ASAP Rescue, and my mom's funeral home director. I mean it when I say that Pittsburgh is my second favorite city in the world, the first being my hometown of Toronto. Just like Gunther left a permanent mark on me, the city of Pittsburgh has also left a permanent mark on me. I mean this in a literal sense, as I got West Penn Hospital's zip code tattooed on my forearm the day after my mom died. I don't think anybody would blame me if Pittsburgh was a painful place for me and one that I want to avoid for the rest of my life, but it is quite the opposite. My mom loved to travel. She always had another trip booked while on her current vacation. People who don't know my mom are shocked to hear she died while on vacation, especially outside of her home country. Yet, people who knew my mom were happy because they knew she died doing what she loved alongside me. I ran into a former neighbor after my mom died. He asked which hospital, and after I said she died while we were on vacation in Pittsburgh, he smirked and immediately goes, "I'm so sorry. It's just that I know she really loved to travel." And I told him he was right, so there was no need to apologize. The shirt I'm wearing in my picture says exactly what I feel. Pittsburgh truly is my happy place. My only regret about moving from Hamilton to Calgary is that I've gone from being a 4-hour drive away to a 4-hour flight. This hasn't stopped me from remaining connected to Pittsburgh. In 2022, I returned to Pittsburgh for the baby shower of one of my mom's ICU nurses, and I still text almost every day with the Pittsburgh funeral home director who looked after my mom's arrangements. I felt a closeness to my mom when I visited Pittsburgh that I've never felt anywhere else since her passing. Once again, thank you, Pittsburgh. I love you, Pittsburgh. And I know I'm long overdue for another visit, which I hope to change in the new year. This journey has taught me that healing comes in unexpected ways, sometimes through the love of a dog or the kindness of strangers, and I'll carry that with me always.